Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today's going to be a fun video. Today I'm going to show you what you need to start volunteering in an animal shelter. So, for those of you who don't know me, I volunteer at my animal shelter quite frequently. I got this crazy girl from the animal shelter. So, I was actually doing a volunteer shift and met her, and I was like, oh, she's perfect in every way, cool. Do know that you will fall in love 20 million times while you're volunteering, and there's a lot of times that you're not going to be able to take them home, and it's sad, but the whole goal is to have them find forever homes. So keep that in mind. I've fallen in love 20 million times with 20 million different animals, and this was the first one that I brought home from my shelter. Let's see if I can get her little face in there a little bit. You don't necessarily need these things to volunteer. Really, like, all you need is clothes that you can get dirty, shoes that you can get dirty that are comfortable. I recommend wearing a hat just because I am in Florida, so like I always wear a hat when I volunteer. But if you do wear a hat, also know some dogs have a thing with hats. I haven't come in contact with a dog that had a thing with a hat. But there are those dogs that, like, if they see a baseball cap, they're gonna freak out. These are shelter animals, these are rescue animals. They're not, you don't know what they've been through, you don't know what their history is, so keep that in mind. Okay, she thinks we're going somewhere. I'm sorry, honey. I'm just showing them something. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord, Malin. Mel. Thank you, go play. Again, these may not be necessary, but if you're going to be volunteering a lot, or you just don't want to borrow stuff from the shelter every time and stuff like that, so depending on if the animal has a collar, there are two different leashes that I recommend. So the first leash is the one that I used for volunteering. This one is, what is the brand? I don't know what the brand is, but it has this loop. It's, I think it's called a slip lead. That's what I always called it. It's basically you lasso the dog with this. So there's this little thing that like tightens it and loosens it. You put this around their neck. Tighten it, not too tight obviously, and then close it up with the little thing here. So they would be here. And then you would hold this part. Both of my leads have this, which is really great. This is rope. Okay, so if your dog is pulling and your hand's going like this, you're gonna get rope burn. Your hand's gonna bleed. It's not gonna feel good. So I really like these that have this like cushion part over it because it's comfortable, very comfortable to use. This is pretty long, honestly. I don't think it needs to be this long, especially if you're just getting them from the kennels to the play area or whatever, but it's nice if you're on a bigger walk or like kind of not running but like jogging with them. It's nice to give them a little bit of space because you're at a shelter, you know that they're safe, so you really can do a little bit of walking and running with them. So this is the first thing I recommend. Another option is if they do wear collars, there is basically the same thing, but with the clip end. So obviously this end would be clipped to their collar, and then it looks like this, and again, it has this cushion at the end because it is made of rope and you don't want rope burns. So these are great. Everything that I have, I'll link down below to my Shein page. I I think I do make a commission with Shein, so keep that in mind. If there's an item that you do purchase from the links in the description bar, I could make a little bit of money, but obviously, just like any other affiliate link, no cost to you. Another thing I recommend is poop bags. They poop. As you know, dogs poop a lot. So, she's getting a different one. What's your next toy gonna be? These are my favorite poop bags. They are a lot bigger than a lot of other poop bags, and they're strawberry scented, which is nice. Doesn't make the hugest difference when you're using it, but it's fun. So these are how big the poop bags are. They're a lot bigger than other ones. They're also thicker and they're also easier to open. These I find to be the best poop bags. I've used like ASPCA, I've used name brand ones, and I hate them. So your whole hand and like wrist can fit inside it to scoop up, flip inside out, tie. So super easy. Love the extra, like, it's a very faint strawberry smell, but I like that it's there just because sometimes poop stinks, so it's nice to have some kind of something against it. So fantastic poop bags. But if you don't want to get those, obviously get a roll of poop bags. What I do is I have a little black fanny pack that I wear to volunteer. With my fanny pack, what I usually do with this is slip it in the side like this, so that way when I'm ready to get a dog, I can slip it down like that, lasso them up and go. So that way I'm not holding it. Sometimes I hold it around my neck, but if you're bending down or something, you don't want to smack a dog with this, you know, or just get it in the, it'll be in the way. So I recommend wearing a fanny pack and then like slip it into the side of the fanny pack. With my fanny pack, it has different zippers, which I love. So each zipper has something else in it, so I don't have to be ruffling around when I have a dog. So I have my poop bags. I have a bag of treats. That is another thing that I really recommend. Honestly, that's probably number one that I recommend, really, because some dogs can be kennel reactive. Either they don't want you in the kennel with them, or they don't want to go back to their kennel. So a good option with that is treats. So you can try to get them out of their kennel with treats, so that way you don't have to like step into their kennel. If they're kennel reactive, I highly recommend not getting in the kennel at all. Obviously, lasso them through the door or however you do it. Don't go in. Another thing would be when they're ready to go back to their kennel, a lot of times they won't leave right at the door because they want to be with you, you know, that you just had fun. They don't want to go back to their kennel. So either to get them in the kennel or to get them to get away from the door so you can leave or whatever, throw some treats. They get distracted, they go that way, close the door behind you, get out of there. So just some things. Also, it's cute to give dogs treats. It's cute to have them, like, you can teach them to sit or whatever, or just play with them, give them treats and do all that. That's really cute. So that's an easy way to earn a dog's trust and to make them like you. Just give them a treat. They like that, obviously. So I have like a little zippered bag that I put my treats in my fanny pack. Again, I really recommend that because dogs have good smell. If they're in your pocket, they can smell them. They're gonna try to get them out of your pocket. So if you have them in your front pocket, especially if they're just loose in there, you might get bit because the dog wants what's in your pocket. Again, these are shelter dogs, most likely not trained. So if they want what's in your pocket, they're probably gonna get it. So even with my fanny pack, even with them zippered closed and the fanny pack zippered closed, I have some dogs that sniff my fanny pack. They know that there's stuff in there. So, you know, be careful. Make sure you're not gonna get, Mel. No, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, go play. Melon. Thank you. I took that from you because I didn't want you playing with it. Imagine that. Melon, go play with your toys. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, even with my fanny pack with them zipped shut and everything, some dogs can smell it through it. So keep them where they can't easily get to them. Your shelter should have toys and balls and stuff for them to play with. We don't play with toys at the shelter, and also the toys and balls can't go in the kennel with them because it could start a fight with dogs. They could hurt themselves with the toy. They're unsupervised in there with an object. So we really only play with toys if we're out in a play yard, and it's usually a tennis ball. They provide the tennis balls, but if there's a specific ball you want to bring or whatever, or if you see something cute at the store, like, and you want to bring it and use it, a lot of times shelters will let you. I would ask first just to make sure, but yeah, usually you can bring a toy if you want to. Otherwise, just use what they have. Definitely bring water also for you in a water bottle. I suggest something that you wouldn't mind getting messed up also, but I would recommend a reusable water bottle. I usually use one that I fill up with ice and water because it's hot outside, and in a water bottle usually it gets lost if it's in a plastic water bottle, and also it's warm and gross and full of slobber and stuff. Not full, but like the outside has slobber all over it. It's just easier for me to have a reusable water bottle that stays cold with ice in it and everything. So definitely bring that. My shelter specifically has places where you can refill your water. I'm sure yours will too. Some shelters make it to where there's specific things you have to do. So I know that this one shelter by me, you adopt out animals. You talk to potential adopters. You show dogs. You show cats. You tell them about their temperament. You do all that. You're kind of more like the face of the shelter. But at my shelter specifically, again, don't know how yours is going to be, but at my shelter, you pick what you want to do. So if you want to show animals that are up for adoption, you are more than welcome to. What I usually just stick to is walking dogs, playing with dogs, walking dogs, getting them in and out of their kennels. Sometimes we have runners, which is where they're doing like a play group somewhere. I'm the one who brings out the dogs, puts them back, so that way they can get a lot of dogs out at a time. Playgroup is fantastic. If your shelter doesn't have that, I highly recommend letting them know about it and seeing if that's something that they could possibly get together. Sometimes it's where they don't have the manpower. So if you are willing to help with that while just being a volunteer instead of being, you know, an actual paid person, then that would be great. With my shelter, they are really good at getting feedback, and they're good with, you know, any ideas. So a lot of times the shelters will be the same way, like all of them will be like that. If you have an idea, share it. We personally have like a Facebook page, so when they have a new dog or something that comes into the shelter and they take a picture of it or something, You can comment under it with pictures that you take of the dogs. I recommend doing that. A lot of times a volunteer playing with a dog in a yard is going to show the actual personality of the dog more than one picture, especially an intake picture of a dog that a shelter may have. Even if it's a good picture of the dog, different angles, different, that's really good for potential adopters to see what they are doing in other pictures and stuff, and telling them what their temperament's like, what if they play with a ball, if they are really sweet, or if they're really silly, or if they have a lot of energy, or if they're really low key. I recommend, what I did when I first started is I made a notes app of the animal's name and their temperament. So that way I knew who I wanted to take out easily, and also so I knew what they liked and what they were like. You could do that. You could write like a little cute thing about them, so that way whenever the shelter posts about them, you can just copy and paste it with a picture or whatever. But yeah, I highly recommend taking pictures of the dogs. Some dogs may not want to play, and sometimes that can be like a little, not like weird or anything, but sometimes it's like you're just sitting out there with a dog and they're not doing anything. In those situations, I would definitely take pictures of the dogs. Another thing I recommend is if you see something, say something. If a dog's limping, if you notice a sore area on them, if you notice anything health-wise with the dog, let someone know. Someone might not know that that dog's walking with a limp. They're in a kennel all day. They don't see them walking. So make sure that if you see anything, let a vet tech know, let anybody you can know, so that way they can get it taken care of. Another thing to keep in mind is you're a volunteer, you don't work for them. If a dog fight happens, get out of there. At least that's how it is at our shelter. You are not trained to break up a dog fight, and you don't want to be in the middle of that. Keep yourself safe. Above all else, keep yourself safe. Some of these dogs are pretty rambunctious. They might do what Melon does and jump up on you and everything. Keep yourself safe. Be aware of anything. Especially when getting them out of the kennel, I really recommend being their boss and letting them know that you are getting them out of there and that's how it's going to go. They're not going to walk all over you and tell you what you can do. They're not going to get out of this. You're getting them out of the kennel. Also, if you're in their kennel, I don't recommend getting down. Just because this is their area, you don't want your face near them when you're in their space. Also, if they're jumpers, they could hit you in the nose, break your nose. They could hit you in the mouth, break a tooth. You don't know. So I just recommend, especially in the kennel, stay up, stay alert, get them out of there as quick as you can, just to minimize any kind of anything that could possibly happen. These are living creatures. These are animals. So you want to make sure that, they can be unpredictable. You want to make sure that they're safe and you're safe. So that is also something to keep in mind. Oh, Melon, they don't want to see that, honey. Oh, okay, she's just putting her whole foot in her mouth. Also, when it comes to what kind of treats to get, I recommend cheap. I usually get like the ones from Dollar Tree or Dollar General that are pretty cheap. Also, a cheap bag of dog food I recommend because, it's little pieces and the dogs don't know it's dog food. They think it's just something fun, and it's a lot cheaper than going through bags and bags of treats. And I'm assuming it's healthier for them, I would think. So what I usually do is get a bag half full with dog food, and then on top of the dog food I usually get milk bones, and I break them in half. So there's usually milk bones. There's some of those like chew sticks that are not, they're not like bones where they take a while to eat, they're just like sticks, and I break them into thirds or halves. Give them some of those and give them some, you know, dog food. Just like throw it on the ground and have them find it and everything. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about getting expensive treats personally, especially because this isn't your dog. You're not gonna be giving this dog treats for very long, hopefully, you know. This isn't their forever home. They're gonna move on. So even if they are like not the best treats, you know, it doesn't, they're gonna have like 2 days, hopefully, you know, a couple times they're gonna have the treats, and then they're hopefully gonna find their forever home. So I usually get cheap, smaller treats. I would like to get bigger bones, like 1 or 2, especially for those dogs that don't play with a ball or anything like that, because those dogs are easy with a ball. You just keep throwing it. If there's a dog that like you get them out into the yard and they're just like, now what, you know, and they don't want to run around and they don't want to play, have a couple bigger bones so that they can, you know, lay down and start chewing. Give them something to do, even if you can't get them exercise. At least that way they have some mental exercise, I guess. I guess those are my biggest tips, and also what to get and what to bring to the shelter. If you volunteer and you think I forgot something, put it in the comments down below. I would love to know what you bring to your dogs or cats or whatever, whoever you play with when you're at the shelter. I would love to know what you recommend. This is just what I do, obviously. Every shelter is different and every person is different, so something else might work for you that wouldn't work for me. So thank you for watching. Thank you for volunteering. We need more volunteers. Even if you don't regularly volunteer and you only do it sometimes, it's very much appreciated. These shelters need it. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you wanna. And Melon and I will see you later. Bye.